Hi, I'm Ken. Well, I'm back today. We're making another Greek dish. As you know, my wife's Greek, and her grandmother and grandfather on both sides of her family originally came from the island of Lesbos. And they brought many of their Greek dishes along, which were passed down from one generation to the next. And we happen to be the next generation, and of course we'll pass them down to our son and daughter as well. You'll find that many of the Greek dishes that are made very simple. Many of these dishes come from villages. The villages didn't have a lot of money. They weren't able to buy a lot of the product, such as meats and so forth, that we are privileged to do today. Many of the ingredients that they used actually were grown in the wild, and they just simply made use of them to make some very, very delicious dishes. The dish we're going to make today, many of you are familiar with, probably called Dolmathes, otherwise known as stuffed grape leaves, but they're also known as galantzidis. Galantzidis are basically a grape leaf stuffed with basically a vegetarian mixture. Dolmathes many times will have a hamburger mixed, many times lamb. And then there's called yabrakya. I recently found out that yabrakya is the Turkish definition for grape leaves. I found out when my wife and I were recently on a cruise with some friends to the Caribbean, and there was a young woman, her daughter, and her mother. They were from Turkey, and I had asked them about certain terms, one of those being yabrakya, because I know the island of Lesbos was very close to Turkey. Matter of fact, you can probably see the coastline of Turkey from the island of Lesbos, and so there was tremendous interaction between the Turks and, of course, the Greeks. Many times it wasn't very pleasant. But anyway, we're going to make grape leaves today, and we do need a number of ingredients. I suggest you don't attempt to make this unless you have time. You're going to need time. This is not something you whip together. This is not a 30-minute meal. Okay? This is going to take a few hours. So you better put it in your pipe and smoke it. You're going to have some time. If you're retired, you have the time. If you're not, well, then you're going to have to make time on a weekend. Well, for ingredients, I like to buy most of our ingredients from the local farmer's market. Most of it is fresh all year round. We're fortunate that we do have several farmers markets in the area. Okay? You're going to need dill. Dill grows wild. Matter of fact, our neighbor across the street from our office would grow this alongside the house. They thought it was a beautiful flower, and she offered to give us dill to make, of course, galantzidis. And although there wasn't enough, it was a very nice gesture on her part, and of course we took some of it. You're also going to need some flat leaf parsley. Okay? Notice I said flat leaf. Flat leaf gives you a better flavor. It's easier to work with as well. Next, you're going to need thiosmo. What is thiosmo? Oh, complicated. It's called mint tea. Many of you are familiar with mint tea. It has that beautiful aroma to it, okay? So you're going to need some thiosmo. This is a crucial ingredient in galantzidis. Many people don't know that. You're going to need 2 large onions. Okay. You're going to need 2 quarts of chicken stock. Okay? I buy chicken stock. If you notice, I get organic chicken stock. Okay? You're going to need 2 jars of grape leaves. Now these you can buy at an import store. I doubt very much if you're going to find them in any of your supermarkets. Okay? Personally, I have a son that lives in Pittsburgh, and we go to a store downtown, okay, on Penn Avenue. And if you ever get down to Penn Avenue, not only have breakfast at DeLuca's, but go right across the street. 2 fantastic markets, and also there's a bakery beside there. Oh, you got to go in that bakery. Best baked goods around. This is in Pittsburgh. Okay. Otherwise, For example, if you live in the Reading area, you can get these at Salino's. You can also go to Russo's. But check your local areas. If you live in Philadelphia, go down, get the name of the street, Carpenter Street, the Italian market. You can find these all over the place. Here's a secret a lot of people don't put in theirs. Tomato sauce. Canned tomato sauce, and it's not flavored. It's just plain tomato sauce. Need a little lemon juice. If you have fresh lemons, use fresh. Need olive oil. I just refilled my bottle, okay? We use Greek olive oil. I don't know if you know it, but Greek olive oil is the best around, especially if it comes from certain islands. They're not the largest producer of olive oil. Many people think it's Italy. It's not. Spain is the largest producer of olive oil in the world, okay? But we like Greek olive oil because it is the best. Okay? Extra virgin olive oil too. Then you're going to need some rice. You're going to need 1.5 pounds. This is a 2-pound bag. Okay? Notice I'm using Carolina rice. All right? Carolina rice is somewhere between a sticky rice and a hard rice. A hard rice would be like Uncle Ben's. We use Uncle Ben's rice to make a dish called pilaf. Not like you get in a restaurant, Greek pilaf. There's a big difference between that, what we make, and what you're going to find in a restaurant. But I use Carolina rice. It's enriched long grain rice. You don't want to use basmati. You don't want to use jasmine. Basmati rice, by the way, is great for making rice pudding. Try it sometimes. Oh, it's great. Use a little half and half, a little whole cream. Makes great rice pudding, okay? So those are the major ingredients that we're going to need. Of course, salt and pepper. Going to need salt and pepper. Need a cutting knife. Need a cutting board. And again, a big bowl. Stainless steel. One of those bowls I told you about earlier when we were making kurabiyedis, the Greek cookies, okay? Now, we need one more item to facilitate all of this. All of this has to be chopped. It has to be chopped fine. That takes time, okay? So to take some of that time out of the element, what I'm going to use is Chihuahua. I'm going to use my Cuisinart, okay? I'm going to use my Cuisinart. My Cuisinart is going to save me a lot of time. I still have to clean and wash my vegetables, my greens, and I'm going to still have to chop them up a little bit, but they got to be minced. They got to be fine. You can't have anything that's really coarse, and this does the trick. So, what am I going to do now? Well, believe it or not, I'm going to wash all this stuff. And I'm going to take, for example, my dill here, and I'm going to pull all the fine stuff off. I don't want these roots and everything. I don't want these big stems. I just want these fine stuff. So now watch, if I take my hand and I go like this, I can pull off just the fine. And then I end up with a piece of junk that gets trashed, okay? That takes time to do all of this. It's not an easy process. It's a time-consuming process. So like I said before, be prepared to take the time to make this dish. All right, I'm going to let you go right now because I'm going to be over here cleaning all this stuff up. It's probably going to take me a better part of a half an hour to 45 minutes just to get my vegetables ready. Okay? So I'll be back. You guys sit back, relax, or if you're making this dish, hey, do the same thing I'm doing.